Good morning. Who's Flamin' Dragon? Let's see. I'm gonna pop this out somehow. There we go. Pop out. Hi, Crystal. Crystal, is my video total crap, or is it actually? Can you turn it up to 720p or 1080p? Okay, so you can see it in 720p. It's not stuck on. Okay, great. Because for whatever reason, I've never used YouTube Live before. That's why I'm a little bit late. It would only show me 360p in the preview, so I thought that I was stuck on 360p, which would make this not possible. So it's kind of dark in here too. But if I turn on that big light, it's like super bright. So that's not enough light. All right, we'll wait a few minutes just to see who all we get in here. And let's see, participants, just you two right now. I can't pop that out. That kind of stinks. Can I make another pop out chat? That'd be cool. All right, well, we'll wait till 10:40 and then we'll get started. So, how are we doing? Yeah, I mean, hey, you got oh, you've been up since 1 a.m. until now. Is that what you're saying? Omar, I'm glad you're feeling blessed. And who is the Unknown Avenger? Who's the Unknown Avenger? Thanks, Crystal. That's good. I don't have any water. I'll be back. Let me get some water. All right, I'm back. Let's see. Kara, you've been making face masks. So has my wife. My wife has made some face masks for our neighbors and for me to go out and get groceries and things. And then she's making some for her family and her friends at work. So, Weston, I see your message of XGX, JNX, FX, JXX, YTC, but YouTube blocked it. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with everyone. Now everyone can see what Weston had to say. Eric, I guess Bashir has encouraged us all to make some things. My coaster got stuck to my glass. Almost destroyed my phone. Yeah, make some face masks. You're welcome, buddy. Okay, 2 more minutes, we'll get started. Look at these. These are nice. I like these colors. It reminds me of a one of those like white and blue shark candies. Those gummy sharks. I got all sorts of stuff over there. Everything you could possibly imagine. All right, 1 more minute. If you got people that wanted to join and they're not here, let's see who all we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 people. That's not a lot, but I'm assuming they're all sleeping or doing something else. That's cool. Made a bone. Anyway, so if you got folks that wanted to be here but aren't here and you want to let them know, you can. What we're going to do, this won't be a long one because my instructions for this week are going to be pretty simple. But next week it'll probably be a little longer as we get more in depth on what the create task is and actually start to look at more examples of what to do and what not to do. This week I know you guys are going to be getting used to everything that's going on, and so I wanted to keep it relatively light. And you can let me know if it's too much work for you, or if it's just right, or if it's not enough. Well, I mean, if it's not enough, maybe don't tell me that. But yeah, if it's too much, I need to know. Okay, so remember that communication is the most important thing that we can do as we go through this process. All right. I'm pretty sure I have this thing set up to record correctly. If I don't, then I will go over this at another time, or I'll send this information out in a different way, and then I'll make sure that I'm recording next time. But I'm pretty sure that it's recording automatically. That's the way I understand YouTube Live to work. So, and you should be able to kind of go back and listen to what I was saying at any point during this live lecture, but I probably would not. Well, I guess, yeah, you could do that. If you need to get up and you need to do something else, you can always just pause this. I've got the DVR on, and you can go do something else and then just hit the play button and catch up to where we are. Though the chat might not make sense anymore, but that's okay. All right. Any questions before we get started from the chat? Also, if I'm too loud or if too quiet, anything like that, just let me know. Kyle said he's a bit late on commenting on that. You can't be late when you're in an online class. You just have to show up at some point. Okay, so you guys don't have any questions, it looks like. We're going to move forward. All right, so our goals for this week, okay? I want you to complete and ask any final questions regarding the Explore task. So the number one thing that you should be doing for this course this week is finishing your Explore task and submitting that in draft mode to College Board by Friday at 8 p.m. Okay? I'm going to show you right now, well, not right now, but I'm going to show you on this live lecture how we go about doing that. And I want to see those by 8 on Friday so that if there's anything weird going on with those, I can address that at that time. Okay? The next thing I want for you to do is read the requirements for the create task. I'm going to show you where the requirements for the create task are. We're going to go over them briefly, but it's up to you to read them a little bit more in depth before we get really in depth on it next week. Okay, so I want you to have a little preview time and go and look at those things before we start looking at that really closely next week. And then I'm going to show you where you can read 2 scored samples of the create task so that you can understand what they're looking for. The things that are scored on the create task are more complex to understand and harder to get points for than on the explore task. In fact, they don't even share an 8-point, a max point example on Code.org because it's really, really hard to get this 1 point. I'll show you which one that is. And then the last thing that you should be doing is you should start to develop your idea for what you want. Right. Yes, more gray areas, Eric. So you want to develop your idea for what the create task is going to be for you. Okay? I want you to remember that you have until May 15th to submit this as a draft for this class. What that means is you've got time to go back and forth on ideas if you need to, but you also want to make sure that you're giving yourself adequate time, that you're setting some kind of schedule to work on this at least once or twice a week, if not a little bit more, and making sure that you meet the requirements. It's important that you have a schedule for this and you work backward. So I would encourage you, just like this is what I'm doing as a teacher, I'm looking at May 15th, I'm looking at everything I need to have done, and I'm working backward from there, thinking about what I need to do to get to that point, okay? You all need to do that as well, because not only do you have to write the code, but you need to make a video of your code running. You have to figure out a little bit how that works without a lot of my help, because I'm going to show you how it works, but we're not going to be right next to each other. And you can ask me questions, but again, it's going to be tough, right? I'm not going to be in class able to show you exactly what to click. So you need to set aside some time to figure that out. And you're going to have to make a PDF of your code. Well, I'll show you how to do that. And you're going to have to do some illustration in your code, like you'll have to open it up in Google Docs or Google Slides or something like that. And then you're going to make you basically like highlight certain stuff with a rectangle, highlight certain stuff with an oval. All those little things, right? Those are very simple tasks, but the first time you do them, they'll take a little more time. So the key with this is to not wait until May 10th to begin. If you wait until May 10th to start this, your chances of getting a good score are pretty low. If you do a little bit at a time, then your chances of getting a good score are very high, because the requirements aren't hard, but they are complex. Okay, there's a difference between complex and difficult. So, any questions before I move on to reviewing the Code.org stuff? Actually, before we go to Code.org, we're going to look at the digital portfolio. But okay. Well, I wish it would say if someone's typing, but it doesn't. So if there are no questions, we'll look at where we're going to turn this in on digital portfolio again, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to expect you to do there. So if you are on a computer, go ahead and do this with me if possible. So we're going to go to digitalportfolio.collegeboard.org. You've seen this before. I am probably extremely bright right now, and I'm sorry. that hopefully next time maybe now you know to bring sunglasses to this thing. I'm pretty sure my username is Q10ES. It's going to be funny if it's not. And then let's see if I can remember this password. Probably not that. If it is, I'm really surprised. Am I already logged in? Yeah, I'm honestly, guys, I have had so little time to do prep for this. I looked at this stuff a little bit last night, but my time has been pretty limited at home. So I'm trying my best. But, oh, I need to verify my identity. Okay. Is my caps lock on? Nope. Okay. Holy moly. Okay. Teachers may only return tasks submitted as final if they have not provided individual feedback or grades on the tasks. Okay, that's good to know. All right. So, this is what you're going to do when you see, or when you're ready to upload your Explore task, okay? So we're going to go to Explore. You will see an overview. You'll see this computational artifact. And I can see all of your work in here. I can see all of your written responses in here. For each of these items, when you all go to upload it, it's going to give you the option to upload it as a draft. So you'll upload it as a draft, and then you will upload it, or then you can choose to submit it as final, okay? We're not going to submit it as final until we get closer to the end date. And I've mentioned this before, but we're not going to submit it as final until we get closer to May 15th. And that's just in case you realize you need to go back and make some changes to something, okay? So in your version of this, you should have an upload button, and then you'll see the options to submit it as final. But again, this is where, when I say you're going to submit your Explore task as a draft, this is where you're going to do that. And then what I should be able to see when I come into class summary and I look at progress, I should be able to see all of you having a triangle, right, under both these things on the right, for these things for your Explore task, okay? So what that means is if you're done with the Explore task, you can go ahead and get the draft in anytime this week, as long as it's before Friday at 8. And if you are not done, you obviously need to finish, but I would start to look into getting this working as quickly as you can. Notice too, we talked about before, for the computational artifact, you want to make sure if you did something other than a Google slide that you've turned into a PDF, you want to make sure that it does not exceed 30 megabytes in size. PDFs can't exceed 3 pages in length, and your video or audio can't exceed 1 minute in length. I said 30 megabytes in length. It can't be 30 megabytes in size or greater, okay? So make sure that your computational artifact, your little illustration, does not violate any of this stuff before you upload it. And if you are confused about how you go about making a slide a PDF, I can show you that real quick. So you would go back to APC, or I'll just go back to my Google Slides, and then you can go to File and Download. And there's an option to make it a PDF document, right? So just download it as that. It'll go to your downloads like it is on my screen. And you can't see it because my face is there. But it will go to my downloads, and then I just upload it through this portal right here, this thing, okay? So again, make sure you get your Explore task stuff uploaded in the correct location. Don't accidentally put it in the create task. Don't actually put your written responses for the explore task under the create task, that would be bad. Okay, make sure it goes in the right place. I saw that happen last year, so don't do that. And I will go in here and I'm going to be watching for these things to change to triangles by Friday at 8. And if I don't see it change to a triangle by Friday at 8, I'll just give you a ring, try to get in contact with you and try to find out what's going on. Now, if you are in a situation where you do not have access to a computer or internet, then I need to know today so that we can start to work out a plan for what we're going to do to get your stuff submitted. Hopefully, you used Google Docs and you used that template that I showed you from Code.org. So your written responses will be available anywhere you can sign into the internet. You could alternatively use your phone. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that for the create task, but we need to work out something if you don't have access to the internet or a computer. Okay. All right. I know that was a crash course. We've seen it before. So any questions on that before I move on to what I want you to look at for the create task? Okay. If you got questions, just chat them in there, and I'll get them on the other side of this next part. So again, if you're on a computer, you can go with me. I want you to go to code.org and sign in. Oh my gosh, I'm still really bright. Hold on, I'm going to turn the brightness down. It's crazy. It's like staring into the sun, staring into a neutron star. High density star the size of Louisville. Pre-black hole. Nobody wants that. Crazy space. Why is it asking me this? How many times have I logged into code.org on this computer, I wonder? Okay. Alright, so we're on code.org. I'm going to go to what you all see, should be able to see. Right now, I still have the explore task assigned to you all. After Friday, I'm going to assign this section so that the first thing you're seeing when you go into code.org is the create task stuff. But I'll leave it the way it is for now, just in case you're finishing up explore task things and you need resources from here. They'll be easily accessible to you. All right, I'm going to go into this unit. Everything from here should be visible to you. If it's not, just let me know. You guys let me know in the chat if you're at a computer or whatever. Let me know if you can't see any of this stuff. So if we go into lesson overview, a lot of the resources we're going to be using for the create task as far as code.org is concerned are right here. But we also have, if we go back, we also have this template, just like we had for the explore task. So this is in lesson 3, the create PT part. You've got a template. If we open up the Google Doc, we'll make a copy. It'll do something. It'll give us a copy. Yeah. So this works just like the template from the other task. It tells you how many words are there, or how many words you must not exceed, what that prompt is, what you need to do to solve that prompt, And then it's also got sections for like the code segment that you're talking about and the written response related to that code segment. As you can see, you're going to be including your code in the written responses and then responding specifically about it. It tells you what you need to do as far as the illustration is concerned. Notice like it says marked with an oval in section 3 or marked with a rectangle in section 3. Again, we're going to get into that more in depth next week. That will be the focus of our lecture next week, is understanding what those things are looking for. And then we'll talk about like how we go about making this final create task product, like what the whole thing needs to be. We'll try to do that probably our third week. I don't anticipate really that we will need a live lecture for more than 3 or 4 weeks, hopefully 3 weeks. And my hope is that those last couple weeks in May, we can just have some Google Meet meetings where I can talk with you all in a live setting and we can sort of work through this stuff together. We are going to have to be careful about this blurred line that's going to exist between, me not giving you the answer to what would give you a high score, but me also helping you along as best I can, because that's part of this process. Okay. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off into the weeds there. So again, here's the template. You'll use this. And if you're still here, we're going to go back to the lesson 1 part where it says lesson overview. And we're going to open up the task directions for students. And you've seen this before, okay? So once you're in here, we'll scroll down and we're going to look for where the create task starts. And that's right here. It's performance task, create applications from ideas. I'm going to pause here for like 30 seconds. And if you're not caught up, you can get here. Or if you just want to watch, that's okay too. You don't have to be doing this with me right now. I desperately need to turn off classroom emails because right now I get an email every time someone comments in class. That's got to change. Way too many emails. Oh man, look. Look at this. I also got an email. Spam email. I want to make sure you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. Nope, you can't. It won't work. Oh, maybe you can't. Look, it says the cure for toe fungus. Now, I don't have any toe fungus, but it says it was an astonishing discovery hidden in a Japanese village. So I'll be sure to respond to that later, because I'm curious about that Japanese village with mysterious toe fungus medicine. I don't know about you guys. Okay. All right. Yeah, so let's look at this briefly. We've got about maybe 10 minutes left before we're done for today. But those last 10 minutes, I just want to go over what the create task is and some of the little details about it. Again, I'm giving you a preview for what we're really going to go in depth on the next couple weeks. Okay, so long and short, the create task is a program that you have written using any programming language you want to, and it can really be just about anything you want it to be as long as it meets the requirements. There are a handful of, not even a handful, there's 1 or 2 like programs that I'm going to encourage you not to do, just because they've been seen so many times. One example, and this really is going to affect students that choose to use the Codeorg platform or like a phone simulation platform. It's going to affect them more. But an example of something we won't want to do is like a clicker game, like cookie clicker, right? I can't believe I couldn't think of that, but cookie clicker is a good example of a program that we will not be writing because the readers have seen it so many times that it's like banned at this point. I don't know why that is, but whatever. And another one would be like you know, what was I thinking of? I guess the number game. Honestly, I guess the number game would not be complex enough to meet the requirements, really, but you could make one theoretically that could be that complex, but I would encourage you to maybe avoid that. So I'm talking about very basic programs that you all could probably write over the next 45 minutes, right? But people submit those, and those are examples of programs that, we're not going to do those, but really you don't have to make a big complex program to meet the requirements. It doesn't have to be this huge undertaking. Okay, this is meant for inexperienced programmers, people that have never written code before, who are just starting. This is the task that's for them. At the same time, I've told you, you've got all this extra time now, right? There's no time limit anymore, and you all should really do something cool that you want to do. Maybe it's extending an idea that you had before to be more interesting, or maybe add some visual elements to it through whatever means, or maybe it's trying something totally new. I know a couple of you, Preston, I don't know if Preston's on here, but he might ask about like Unity, right? My only issue with doing something like that in Unity is that you're going to be dealing with a lot of built-in abstractions, meaning Unity is building the C# scripts for you, and you're not actually writing that code yourself, and that can get you into a really tough spot when it comes to the grading. And when we look next week at what scores each point, you'll understand why that could be a problem. Because pretty much everything that scores a point, well, not everything, but a lot of the stuff that scores a point has to be your own creation. Okay, has to be a custom function that you've written. All right. Minimum requirements are that you have a video of your program running. If you do not have software like OBS, or if you're not already experienced with some kind of screen recording software, don't panic about that. We can use Screencast-O-Matic or Screencastify or something like that. These are free, easy to use products that you can record your computer screen with, and you can even just have your phone recording your screen. That's not desirable, but it's not a big deal. The video is only going to be like a minute and a half, so don't stress too much about that if you're not sure what to do. I'll try to show you some examples of how that works. I'll give you adequate resources for that. Okay. You're going to submit your individual written responses about your code and the development process. So another thing that I'm going to ask you to do is, as you are writing code, you need to, I'll put it this way. When you run into tough spots, you should write that down. Like, you should write down your mindset at that point, what the problem was, what you did to fix it. Because that's also part of scoring a point on the task. And then the last piece is your program code. Okay? I don't know why they say program code. It's kind of redundant. But you have to submit your code. You'll submit it as a PDF. And that's that. So some stuff that they're looking for is that you understand how to implement basic algorithms to accomplish goals, that you know how to plan, design, and test your program, meaning that you know how to develop an idea, you know how to design the code to some extent. I'm going to zoom in on this real quick. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Sorry. Okay. That you know, it escalated quickly. So you know how to plan, design, and test, or debug. And you're going to be asked a question about how you went about debugging during your development process. All right. You're going to do independent work writing your own code, and you must write algorithms and abstractions that you have designed yourself, and you select them for a particular purpose to meet a certain goal. Now that's that's a complex way of saying that you're writing code to do what you want it to do. Stuff you're already familiar with doing that, but it's going to come from you more than it's going to come from my requirements for what you need to do. Okay. You're required to independently develop at least one algorithm that integrates 2 or more algorithms and that is fundamental for your program to achieve its intended purpose. Okay? This statement is the point that is very difficult to get. And it's because it has so many elements to it. Okay? It's one algorithm that has to contain 2 other algorithms, all that you independently developed, and they have to be fundamental for your program to achieve its purpose. They cannot be frivolous or just there to meet some requirement. Now, if you guys are writing code that interests you and you're making something that you think is cool, I think more than likely you're gonna get that complexity. But this is where you're going to need the most coaching, really, is trying to understand whether or not you're meeting this point right here. Again, we'll talk more about this next week. Okay. You need to develop at least one abstraction that manages the complexity of your program. Don't overthink that. That's literally just writing a function that contains some code to manage complexity. So you need to write a function and use it again. This is elementary stuff. Okay. Create a video, respond in the prompts, and then submit your whole, or submit all your program code. Okay. You have to use, right? You have to use at some point some kind of math and or logical concept, okay? So that means you need to have some math going on in your program somewhere for some purpose. And you need to be using Boolean values. Well, you don't have to use the Boolean values themselves, but you have to be using logic. Now, I don't know how you write an interesting program without using either of those things. I could see maybe if you're building, I don't know. I don't know how you avoid both of those things, but I've seen them avoided. So, especially the math. Okay, so you gotta make sure that you are using some math and logic at some point, and then when we get to that more complex point, you've got to use math and or logical concepts. Remember when I started this conversation, I told you that this is way more complex than meeting the requirements for the explore task. Again, it's not difficult. It's just more complex to meet the requirements. Okay. Let's see. I'll leave this up to you all to read. I've pretty much discussed everything that I think I really want to discuss about starting the create task. We're going to go over these prompts in depth when we discuss the scoring process next week. So these are the things that you should be doing. We kind of talked about that. So we're gonna brainstorm some ideas. You guys are gonna brainstorm on your own. We talked about making sure that you're reflecting as you're working through your process. So we'll pretty much have some kind of reminder of that every week. Is that make sure that you document that you are engaging in an iterative process, right? An iterative process is a process that you are improving on what you did before every step of the way, and you know that you're iterating. You don't go from nothing to all done all at once. That doesn't happen, right? We're not writing a paper at 2 a.m. to be turned in at 8 a.m. We're engaging in some kind of iterative process where we're building this a little bit over time, okay? Yeah, I think that's really it from this, okay? So I'll leave it up to you to kind of look at this on your own if you want to. If you feel like what I've just said is adequate for you for right now, so be it. No worries, okay? The last thing I want to look at and show you are where the samples are. And you are responsible for looking at 2 of these by next week, okay? So there's one sample. This is the highest scoring sample right here. It's the video and the sample. And you can go look at the video on your own. And then it shows you the written responses. It shows you how they bring their code into the written responses, so on and so forth. Okay. And here's a few others. Here's one that didn't score. It only scored 1 point, right? I don't know how you do that. You've got to try to score just 1 point, I would think, but there you go. And here's a grumpy cat exemplar. Maybe this is the 8 out of 8. This could be the 8 out of 8. Maybe. Let's take a look. Nope. Okay. So maybe that is, maybe Grumpy Cat is the 8 out of 8. I'm not sure. You take a look at that and you let me know maybe. What you're going to see though, I want to just pause here and acknowledge that what you're going to see in a lot of these written responses is not Python. Okay. It's going to be JavaScript, and more specifically, it's going to be JavaScript that came from Codeorg. You all might have seen this kind of stuff before, what I'm looking at right now. And this is from the App Lab in Codeorg using block code in this example, but we can actually go ahead and look at the JavaScript by clicking on Show Text up here in the top right. All right. So this is all the JavaScript that makes this program work, and you can go over here and run it. And we've got a Grumpy Cat. Oh, this is a clicker game, so I don't know why that's a... Yeah, this is not a good... This can't be good. If this is the exemplar, it's bad because we don't want to make clicker games. It's a clicker game. Okay, so don't make a clicker game. That's a cool little illustration, though. Commend them for that. Yeah. Now, if you are interested in making an app on this little simulated phone thing, you can. And if you go to Create App Lab on Code.org, you have this available to you. All right, you can have a party making yourself an app with all these design elements, and you can use block-based code or you can use text-based code. It's all JavaScript. There's not a lot to learn here. If you already understand Python pretty well, you're going to learn about some new functions, but other than that, you can do quite a bit without much of my intervention if you want to learn the JavaScript from here. And I do like how you can kind of just bring in designs. That didn't work at all. You know, you can bring in buttons and labels and stuff. That's kind of cool. If you want to do something like that, check it out. Okay, but you cannot make games using App Lab very effectively. For that, you might want to use Game Lab. But that has its own, so they're limited to an extent, both of them. These are not fully fledged app builders. They're just for kind of for fun and for education. Okay. All right. There's one more thing I wanted to show you on the App Lab. I think. Maybe I lost my train of thought. I think I did. Something else here, maybe? Oh, yes. Okay. So if you are interested in doing that App Lab, but me saying you can do this on your own, just go check it out, is not enough to build confidence in learning JavaScript, then you can go to another section of our AP CSP. And it is Unit 5, called Building Apps. If you go to this unit, this will teach you how to use the App Lab and how to use this version of JavaScript. Now, understand that this version of JavaScript isn't really used elsewhere. There's elements of it that kind of mesh with real JavaScript, but it's not real JavaScript. If you want to learn JavaScript, now I'm really going off in the weeds. If you want to learn JavaScript, I will show you the best way to learn it. It's boring, but it will teach you in a very practical way how to learn JavaScript. And now I have to remember the name of it because I have forgotten. It is, let's do this JavaScript. Practical JavaScript. Okay. If you're interested, you can check this out. So Practical JavaScript, it is a free course with a bunch of lessons. And let's see, it takes you all the way through pretty much everything you would need to know to make a website that functions as a to-do list. Good way to spend your time if you're interested in learning JavaScript. It's kind of boring, but you'll learn a very practical and useful version of JavaScript. Okay. There's lots of free resources online for learning how to write different languages. You can use something like Code Academy. I'm not a huge fan of Code Academy because their premium stuff is expensive, but there's probably going to be a lot of places that have deals right now because of COVID-19. I've seen stuff for Pluralsight. This is something that professional developers will use all the time. So you can check out Pluralsight. Hashtag free April. What? Tell me more. I want to know more about COVID-19. Free April. That's cool. You can find a lot of stuff here. Let's see, courses. Let's go to courses. So if we go to software development, you can see Python, JavaScript, Java, C#, web dev, mobile dev, and then you can view all courses. So if you wanted to check out JavaScript, you could. If you want to be crazy and check out Java, you'll take a little test and then it'll start you off on some courses. Maybe it's free right now. I don't know. I would check this out though. Pluralsight is a great site to learn a lot of different stuff. Even if you're not going to be a developer, even if you're already saying to yourself, man, Mr. Tennis has convinced me that I hate coding for the rest of my life. You can check out like their IT ops courses for security, DBA, server stuff, all these CompTIA things. You can do cybersecurity, like ethical hacking fundamentals, take your CEH. So many things that you all could be doing with your time if you have time. I know every adult is telling you to use your time wisely, so I'm not going to say it again because you all have different responsibilities than I do. But this is potentially a great time to learn something and really set yourself apart from other people, maybe at college, when you start to look for jobs, internships, that kind of stuff. If you walk in with some skill already, you got a cert or something like that, always looks good. Okay. All right. Let's see. There's another old school Java course now that I'm thinking about Java. It's called Cave of Programming. And this is really old school, but there's a ton of Java courses here. He uses Teachable now. So you got to do a little sign up thing. But yeah, he's got a bunch of stuff on Java. And I guess C++ if you want to do something like that. Last thing is if you want to learn a low-level language, which we've never talked about at all, you can get this book off Amazonian.com. This is the Bible of the C language. Okay, this is how everybody probably ought to learn that language. It's called the KNRC book. Some of the stuff is old. It doesn't apply anymore, but it is widely regarded as the best way to learn C. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's unpleasant, but you'll be competent in C if you could finish this book. I bet this would take you until next year starts. So don't do this unless you're really confident and you want to spend all your time on this and you want to do this for the create task. Be real cautious because the AP readers aren't going to really care if you chose to do your program in C. Some of them won't even know what that is. Okay, so don't get fixated on that. All right, but if you're really interested in doing this, I can maybe like send you a few PDFs of it, like a few pages, and see if you like it. And if you do, I'll mail it to you. If you're that one person that wants to do it. If I have multiple people, I'm going to tell you guys to go to Amazonian.com, or maybe we can. I don't know. Maybe I can get some money from somewhere to buy it for you. We'll see. It's not expensive. I think it's like $20, maybe. Now I'm looking at books. Is there any other books I want to share with you? Not at this time. Okay. That is it's a holy religion, Aaron Smith. Hold on. Now I want to Google holy religion to see. Oh. No. It's just a bunch of stuff about Christianity. So it has nothing to do with C. At least, as far as we know. Okay. So, with that said, I'm going to leave this here to remind you of what you should be doing. What questions do you have? Any questions at all about what our expectations are for this week and next? Here's your goals. Okay, again, here's your goals. Take a note of them, and I'm gonna hear your questions here. Actually, I have a question for you as well. I was thinking that maybe at the end of our lecture that we could do like a 15-minute Google Meet. That way we could kind of knock that out for the week, so I can see you all. And if you have something else you wanted to ask, you could just do it with your voice rather than with your fingers on the keyboard. If that's a good idea, we can do that for next time. If you don't want to do that, don't care, then no big deal. We'll schedule a different time for a Google Meet. But I am expected to, and I enjoy seeing you guys. So I'm expected to do at least a Google Meet with you every week or every other week. So we'll schedule it at another time. If you want to do it then, we might catch more people later on in the day. So, all right. So let me know what questions you have. Let me know what you think about that idea about having a Google Meet at the end of the lecture, and then we're going to wrap up this situation. Weston has what are those emojis called? Are those ghosts? Are those I'm spooked emojis? What do those emojis even mean? I'm gonna look it up on my phone. Oh, I don't know how to see it. Flabbergasted. Weston, what are you flabbergasted about? What are you flabbergasted about? Oh. Okay. The screen. Edvard Munch. Look at that. Whoa, that's real spooky right there. Oh, look at that. It even has an emoji on top of it. Incredible. Okay. Aaron asked, is there a specific day you want us to upload the create task as a draft? May 15th. Or maybe, well, I'll take that back. Probably like May 13th or something like that. We'll put a date on it when we get closer to that time. Keep in mind that it's not technically due until May 26th, but as I already mentioned to you all, I'm working backward from May 15th because that's about a month from now. And we have heard rumblings that we will not be in this online learning situation for more than a month or so. That's just rumors. You didn't hear that from Mr. Tennyson. You can say that my non-computer science teacher told me that we might only do this for a month. You can say that to your parents if you like, but don't tell them that it was Quincy Tennyson who told you that. So, to answer your question, sometime May 10th through 15th, we'll do a draft on create task. People who watch this on mute without the chat are going to be wondering why on earth we're staring at this Google image when they watch it later. It's going to be up here for a couple minutes, and they're going to sit there thinking like, what did I miss from this lecture? Am I supposed to be looking at this right now? Is this part of the create task? Eric, ostensibly, yes, that would mean school ends sometime around that time. But again, that's not confirmed, and you did not hear it from me. Yes, Kyle, that's correct. So Kyle said we want to make sure that we don't have, or when we upload the explore task as a draft, we don't have to do the final submission. That's right. So we're going to keep the explore task and the create task in draft until like May 14th, May 15th, and then everybody, I'm going to just be like, on Google Classroom, I'll say, hey, everybody go finalize right now. And then I'll go and look at who has not finalized, and I'll let them know directly that they need to do that. But yes, we're going to keep it in draft mode until we get very close to the due date. And Omar, that's right. We never stop learning. That's right. Okay. All right. If you got any other questions, shoot me a message in the Slack, and or on Google Classroom, whatever you want to, and I'll get back to you this evening probably. Again, we're going to have our office hours. I think I'm gonna make a change there just because I had a lot of people around last night, but I didn't have a ton of questions. So I think we're gonna do like 8 to 10 on Tuesday and Thursday for the office hours. So 8 to 10, not 8 to 11, and we'll see if we need 2 days. We'll see if we need 2 days in the end. We might just go down to 1 day for that. I don't know. I'm required to contact everybody that doesn't check in on Google Classroom or something else and let me know that they're seeing our stuff. So that will take me a while, and I need some time to do that. Okay. Well, don't forget to turn your Explore Task draft in by Friday at 8, and I will see you all. I'll see you all for a Google Meet at some point this week, or we'll do one right after our lecture next week. Okay, thank you, Crystal. I appreciate all these cats in boxes. Here's a cat in this painting that I'll share with you at the very end. Okay? People that are not here for the chat or listening right now are so confused. I'll see you all later, and I hope you have a good week.